RT is sitting down with John Sifton, private investigator, attorney, reporter, former researcher for Human Rights Watch, and now executive director of One World Research, a group investigating human rights violations all over the world. Sir, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
You've been investigating CIA interrogation and detention programs for several years now. What have you discovered? What has the CIA really been up to?
CIA has left a lot of fingerprints around the world in the form of flight records for their airplanes and, frankly, their own staff speaking about their work, leaking the information to journalists and to other sources. And what we've learned is that the CIA set up an extensive detention program around the world. They started in Thailand. They had a facility in Afghanistan, Jordan, later in Europe, in Poland, Romania, and by some reports, Lithuania. But the biggest finding was the scope of the program. It was really a worldwide operation. There's two separate detention programs. There's a military detention program and a CIA-run detention program. The CIA program is by far the most secretive. That's the one that only had a few dozen detainees at any given time. But it's the one that saw the biggest abuses, the most serious forms of torture, including waterboarding, extensive sleep deprivation. The military, by contrast, had a huge program, but it was largely in view. It was public. People knew where the detainees were. They were in places like Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. The CIA program, oftentimes we had no idea where those detainees were.
Obama, several months back, ordered the shutdown of these secret prisons. Did that materialize, especially considering it's taking so long to shut down Guantanamo?
Our information is that the Obama administration essentially put the CIA out of business with respect to detaining people. They can interrogate people who are in military custody. They can go and interrogate people who are in the custody of other countries, but they no longer have their own prison program.
But these secret prisons still exist?
Certainly as facilities, they still exist. The Polish facility, for instance, as best we can understand it, was a Polish intelligence facility in northeastern Poland, near Szymany, a city in the Lake District of Poland. The district and the facility still exist, but the CIA doesn't exist there anymore. And the same goes for Thailand. I'm sure the building, is still there, but the CIA doesn't use it anymore.
What about Lithuania? We know the Lithuanian president has ordered an investigation into the allegations that one of the secret prisons was in Lithuania. What do you know about this?
I had been able to determine that there was a third facility in Europe. I just never was able to confirm exactly where it was. I was told that it was in a country that bordered Poland, but that, really leaves Germany, which I don't think would allow this, the Ukraine, which is a possibility, but we were never able to confirm it, and Lithuania, of course, which is right across the border from northeastern Poland. We've seen in flight records CIA planes land in Lithuanian airports, but that in and of itself is not proof. I'd need to cross-reference that with other information. The Council of Europe is currently investigating, as well as the Lithuanian authorities, and hopefully the Council of Europe, which was able to confirm the allegations about Poland, can also confirm what the real story is with Lithuania. It's important for Europe to come clean on this because this is not just any region of the world. This is a region where the countries in question have signed certain human rights treaties which obligate them not to be complicit in torture and forced disappearance.
Are the countries who are participating with the United States, who were participating with the United States in these programs, are they acting in breach of international treaties and other documents that they signed?
Well, certainly any country that is complicit in torture is in violation of international laws on torture and enforced disappearance. What makes Europe special is that it has its own special human rights treaties. The European Convention on Human Rights and other regional human rights bodies that are much more powerful than the basic international system.
What about human rights conditions at these centers? With all the information that's been spilling out about torture at Guantanamo, what was happening in secret?
What makes the CIA program special is not its size. It was a small program. And Guantanamo is just a small part of the military side. Iraq and Afghanistan, there were tens of thousands of detainees in custody. The interrogation methods that were used on those tens of thousands of detainees were modeled on the techniques that were first utilized by the CIA in its secret prisons. So the CIA prisons in some respect were a model for the rest of the detention system that was eventually put in place in Iraq and Afghanistan.
One of the things you've investigated is deaths that were caused by torture. What can you tell us about that? What are the numbers?
In the military, there was actually a larger number of deaths than with the CIA. The CIA engaged in some horrendous abuses, but they appear to have taken precautions to have actually prevented people from dying, which might sound humanitarian, but in fact is kind of sickening. I mean, they were torturing them, but also trying to maintain their health so that they could keep torturing them.